playing around here. The man was not happy to hear this. He slowly pulled back his jacket to reveal a cross. The officer was instantly surprised. Anyone who could have this medal was no ordinary person. It turned out that the man's name was Ivan, and he had been a senior commander under the Tsar. When Civil War broke out in 1917, Tsarist Russia was overthrown, and as a senior Tsarist general, he became a prisoner of war. To escape capture, he fled into the forests of Siberia and lived a life of seclusion, hunting, and isolation. It was only a few days ago that his peaceful life was shattered by the appearance of some thieves. He was about to question them with his gun when suddenly, a man came out from the side. He didn't hesitate to shoot. A man in his 60s came in at the recruitment office.
Tell me, when your men slaughtered Ned Stark's men in the throne room, did you give the order?
I did. And I would again. The man was a traitor. He tried to buy my loyalty.
A fool. He had no idea you were already bought.
Are you drunk? Not have my honor questioned by an imp.
I'm not questioning your honor, Lord Janus. I'm denying its existence.
You think I'll stand here and take this from you, dwarf?
Dwarf, you should have stopped at him. And yes, you will stand here and take it from me, unless you'd like to take it from my friend here. I intend to serve as Hand of the King until my father returns from the war. And seeing as you betrayed the last Hand of the King, well, I just wouldn't feel safe with you lurking about.
These men are under my command. I command you to arrest this cutthroat.
His name is Brom, and he is the new commander of the City Watch. Tell me.
Serious income. And the way that they do that...
Don't need a real estate license?
Don't need a license.
Don't need credit?
Don't need credit.
Don't need money?
Very little, if any, money.
Don't need to own a piece of real estate?
Don't need to own anything. We're talking about serious cash flow. Hey, what's going on? My name's Brian, and I just wrote a brand new 56-page book called How to Become Financially Independent on Airbnb with
Oh, yeah. That's fun.
How many times have you made that calculation?
Once. Turn me into the man I am now. I'm not even sure who that is anymore. You tell yourself it's justified, but it's a lie. Because what I did that day was wrong. Just wrong. And because I got it wrong, I'm going to make you get it right. How? Any second now, you're going to stop that countdown. Both of you. And then you're going to negotiate the most perfect treaty of all time. Safeguards all round, completely fair on both sides. And the key to perfect negotiation, not knowing what side you're on. So, for the next few hours, until we decide to let you out, no one in this room will be able to remember. What's that?
How many times have you made that calculation?
50 G's? How do you figure that?
35 for the pound of meth you stole, and another 15 for my partner's pain and suffering.
Oh, yeah. I remember that little bitch. So you was the idea. Let me get this straight. I still do. Break the fence! Are you new boy? And then you walk in here and you bring in water? That's a brilliant plan, isn't it? You get one part of that wrong. This is not that. As I walk I take a look at my life and realize it's not left.
50 G's?
Anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's been 5 minutes since we started. There's one person watching, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei L. Bob. Let's see. Does this even work? Who knows? It seems to work. Okay. Ooh, that light's cool. Cool light. It's a cool light. Hey, it's 2 thumbs up, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei L. Bob. And, nothing seems to change, does it? Is your life changing? Are you changing your life? I'm seeing all these folks run around. It's almost Christmas time, and they're gonna, they're here and they're rich. Their mommy and daddy's paying all their bills, and they seem to be they can skim through anything, right? They lie, cheat, and steal. And sounds a lot like our good friend here. Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he's dead. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners. They're talking about Marley. Marley was dead as a doornail. You will therefore permit me to repeat emphatically that Marley was as dead as a doornail. Meaning, how do we know who's dead? And when are they dead? What is death? Can you tell me? Cadre? Now, someone said that, well, I just used the chatty thing and it seems to work. So anybody wants to chat and tell me what death is? Marley was dead to begin with. There is no doubt whatever about that. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon the change for anything he chose to put his hand to. Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know of my own knowledge what there is particularly dead about a doornail. I mean, Dickens is great. And this is just the first 8 lines, and he's like going on about death, right? And what is death? And where are we? And what are we doing here? And there's Jane. Marley, yep. But, we will go to where it says Scrooge knew he was dead, meaning Marley. And also himself, he knew he was dead, What, aren't there enough, prisons and workhouses, and can't we take these children and put them in factories, Nice liberal sentiments. And the guys who were coming to talk to him were they probably had factories where they had kids working in them anyway. And that's what a liberal is. A liberal is someone who feels guilty about being a scumbag. That's what a liberal is. And a progressive is someone who is, those people who actually are quite attractive, and then they get a little, their ears aren't quite equal, or they don't like their nose, and they get a little plastic surgery, and then look at that. And then they get addicted to plastic surgery. I mean, ridiculously. What is that? What is this? What is this? This is between reality and whatever this is, right? As I was walking through the valley of death. That's a great piece. I love it when Weird Al, his version is really good. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if Google brings it up here. Play Weird Al Yankovic's version of I Walk Through the Valley of Death. Yep, here we go.
I walk through the valley.
Ah,
I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain. I walk through the valley where I harvest.
as I walk through the valley. Yes, that's the one I want to play. Play
I
it.
walk through the valley where I harvest my grain.
That's what is wrong.
I walk through the harvest my grain.
Why won't they play the whole thing? Oh, this is what I mean. I have no idea about this shit, right? I don't want to play it on Facebook. I don't want play it the where skip. No, skip ad.
I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain.
What can I say? And that's what Dickens was talking about right there, right? That's where we are standing. All these people, something on the order of 40,000, totally non-combatants have died, have been, documented dead in Ukraine, right? And something on the order of 1,100, 1,500 children under the age of 7 have died in this war, right? Russians, their soldiers, they have probably lost somewhere between 70 and 180,000 people, soldiers, right? And Russia's a big country. That's only nothing. If that comes from spread all over Russia, not too many people are going to complain. But it comes back to that whole issue of what is death. I've died 7 times so far, and 3 of them really died, meaning kind of was floating up on the ceiling, looking down at people trying to, wake me up. And the last time I was already on the other side eating welcome home cake and wearing a funny hat. Just not. I mean, this one, it's one of my club hats, right? So, I say, but what do you guys think? Enjoy Marley. Yeah. And Marley's the only ghost. The others are spirits, right? And that's because he was, Charles Dickens was really trying to give us a heads up about the difference between a ghost and a spirit, right? This ghost is a person who's still stuck here. Spirit is someone who's never here, right? Meaning you aren't your body, right? This thing here is just a chemical. This is a bag of water with a few trace elements in it, right? And through the magic and lovingness of love's co-creation, the prana of the universe animates us. That is the little fiber optic line that connects us, from our body and what our soul is, that little fiber optic line up into our Akashic record, which is just the whole of what our spirit and all our relations has been doing, right? Now, I love it when people go on and on and on about me. What does he know? I know nothing. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with your Sensei Albound. And I'm here to tell you I know nothing, right? But I'm also here to say that I'm your griot. I tell you a story that makes you go, Then you actually think. Then you actually realize that all those garbage thoughts aren't yours and that you should just get rid of them. Just like on this stupid phone here, you get all this stuff called scram or cram or spam, and you just kind of zip, zip, zip. You know, I hate that guy. Zip. That guy's black. Zip. That guy's a woman. Zip. That guy's, just zip it off, right? And if you know you're 20 and you're 360, you won't even go there, right? You should realize that you aren't your ego, right? That you don't have to be motivated by fear and anger, right? And ignorance, right? And every person that you ever met, every person that whoever was, by your side, that boy, this person, I like being with this person. This person, I feel safe with this person, right? It's because they're not living in their ego, right? So Scrooge knew he was dead. Of course he did. How could it be otherwise? Scrooge and he were partners for I don't know how many years. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole administrator, his sole whatever that is. I think it's like power of attorney. His sole legal legate, whatever that is. His sole friend and sole mourner. That's pretty sad, right? I got the cadre and I got the adepts and those are all you guys in fun suits. I have a whole bunch of spirits behind me and around me. That's why I don't mind my own company. I can feel everything around me, and because it's coming to me through soul speak. Right? When you meditate, when you go into state, when you go into your Akashic record, everyone, your librarian, your animal totem, your guardian angel, you're not flapping your lips. It's soul speak. Right? And then when you go into your sanctuary of your own choosing, you walk through the portal of the 9 doors, your portal. That's right to the left of you, to your right where your guides are. See it clearly. And every time I talk about this, if you have been, meditating, as I showed you at least 100 times, because I have close to 2,000 shows, and you can see them all. It's quite interesting. They're all there, and if you take the time to count them, like I did, you realize that this thing says I have 1,500 or so. Which would be pretty good for almost anybody. But if you go and count them, because they're all there, it's pretty remarkable. And some have been stepped on so you can't bring them, but they show them. So I keep advising you guys to go, stick some of your favorite shows on a thumb drive or your hard drive or a CD-ROM or something. They still make CD-ROMs? Or because everything I am is up in the cloud, and I did that for a reason. That's all I could do. Number one reason. Number two reason. Every time I do a show, I go into state. I am in state. I'm in state right now, right? So I am dropping my pebble into the World Wide Web pond, and it's just boom, 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 boom. And even though this thing says, I only have, almost 500 subscribers, but 17,000 people watch this thing. So what can I say? Except good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Al Bob. I, your sensei, your griot, here to tell you a story. I want to thank you for all those people who have given me a gift, sent it to my PayPal, right? And that's all my teachers in state and in corporeal all told me, we're teaching you to sharpen your gifts. We're teaching you all these techniques. We're teaching you to, be the lucky bastard you are, to know your 20, know your 360, because it will help, right? and you serve love's co-creation. We'll always take care of you, which I'm always taking care of. But they said, you can't charge money for this. A lot of people, oh, can you come over and give me a reading? I said, sure, I can. Does it cost anything? I said, you can give me a donation, a gift. You can give me a gift. I can receive gifts. That's not a problem. I can't go, oh, this will be $19.95. But I can say, hey, come on. PayPal, the dudeawake42 at Gmail, dudeawake42 at Gmail, dudeawake at 42 at Gmail. Here it is, I think the 9th or 10th of December. We're way into the Advent calendar scene. And yet, I have not received a single gift. Boo-hoo, right? Come on, loosen up your change. Dudeawake42 at Gmail when you go onto my PayPal. And there are about 100 of you that are more than adepts, right? More than Padawans, right? They are people who have actually got a hold of me on my Gmail, give me their telephone number, and talked real, And a number of people who, Magic Man, Tool Man, Cool Man, who else? Miss L, Miss A, who else? A few other folks. Dr. Chicago. Wonder what Dr. Chicago is up to right now. Let's give him a jingle, right? Let's give him a tingle. Let's see if he is around. It's Cool Man. I have not heard from Dr. Chicago so long I can't find his phone number. There's BG. See if he picks up. I've known this guy forever. His parents started one of the most avant-garde theaters in the world. Reach Garrick. And what to do. Beep.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, honey bun. I didn't make it to New York. I had an interesting Thanksgiving. I'm doing a live chat right now. I thought you might like to say hi. Talk about old stories of the rainbow gatherings in New York back in the day. Anyway, I'll talk to you later. All my best. Hope you enjoyed NYC. Catch you later. Well, let's see. Let me try this. Helen Fish. Holly. Mr. Magic. Cool Man. Blah, blah, blah. Boo, boo, boo. Sorry, it's already 4:30. Here's Lucky Man. Oh, there we go. Mr. Dr. Chicago. guy is. He's probably on a mission. So, what else can I say? Still one watching, 25 minutes and 25 seconds. You know, where did, yeah, here we go. We're going to just kind of flip through the pages and stop at a place. And here we go. Bah humbug, yes. We're getting close. Let's see. Scrooge never painted out old Marley's name, that it stood years afterwards above the warehouse door. Scrooge and Marley. Right? The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. Sometimes people new to in business called Scrooge, and others called him Marley, but he answered to both. It was all the same to him. Oh, but he was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone, meaning all that he lived for was money and business. Scrooge, a squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous old senior, hard and sharp as flint, from which no steel had ever struck out a generous spark of love. No fire of unconditional understanding. No spirit of forgiveness. Who's going to die next? And self-contained and solitary as an oyster. The cold within froze his old features, nipped his pointed nose, shivered his cheeks, shifted his gait, made his eyes red, his thin lips blue, spoke out shrewdly in his grating voice. A frosty rime was on his head, on his eyebrows, on his very chin. He carried his own low temperature always about with him. He iced his office in the dog days and didn't throw it 1 degree at Christmas. And he never stopped being that clutching character of mercantile transactionalness. And that's how most people view religion, I'll do this if I get into the gated city, like I paid that special price to go to that gated town, You speak to that guy, the real estate guy, St. Peter, Boo, boo, boo. Nobody ever stopped him in the street to say with gladness or good, gladsome looks, "My dear Scrooge, how are you? When will you come to see us for dinner?" No beggars implied him to bestow his trifle. Meaning even the poor people wouldn't even know that, this guy, he's not coughing up a coin. No children asked him what it was o'clock. No man or woman ever once in all his life inquired the way to such and such a place. I mean, everyone knew not to talk to this guy. Right? Well, what did Scrooge care? It was the very thing he liked. The edge he was along crowded paths of life, and people would get out of his way. Warming all humans' sympathy didn't need to happen to keep his distance. Was what the knowing one calls nuts to Scrooge. Once upon a time, of all good days in the year, on Christmas Eve, Old Scrooge sat busy at his counting house. It was cold, black, biting weather fog. This is what my it's still 50 at night and 60 something during the day, and I still have fog in my man cave. And what's strange is that it's somewhat the same temperature as outside. It may be a degree colder or maybe a couple degrees warmer, but it still feels rigidly cold, right? Where the man cave is, it's right next to this, energy vortex. So, it kind of protects, but it's a little nippy sometimes. Even, I mean, the good side of it is, and when it gets hot, it's like having air conditioning. It's quite interesting. But I have no money to, you know, put on heat. I have no heat really. I have a little space heater, electric, but if I were to use that when it really gets cold, it runs my electric bill up to 90 to $200. Can't do it. Right? So I can barely afford $40 a month for electricity, right? And it really costs somewhere between 50 and 60. Right? Once upon a time, beginning London, England, 1843, the city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already. Because England is kind of it's the only reason England is veritable is because the Gulf of Mexico washes into it, right? And once the what they call the African train stops moving the warm water of the Gulf of Mexico across the Atlantic into Europe, Ireland, England, Scotland, pretty much good chunks of France and Belgium and all of that is going to be the Ice Age. A guy named Whitley Strieber and Art Bell wrote a book called The Day After Tomorrow, and then they made a movie into it. Go to YouTube, watch that. They did a very good job of defining and showing what Earth changes are. And things are getting hotter, warming up. Everything's melting. And then something happens. It's like The Day After Tomorrow. Oops, go watch that movie. And the category of this is our number 7 in the series of The Old Crone, right? So she loved this book, right? And she gave it to me off her shelf in 1970, and it was printed. It was reprinted by the cheap book company of Long Island in '91. And this copy itself, which was heavily annotated by a Miss Carrie, in '93, I was in a coffee shop in Asheville, North Carolina. And this girl came up and took the book out of my hand and said, "This is my book. Where did you get this book?" And I said, "Well, I've had it since 1970. What? And she looks at it and she goes, "My God, it's all yellow. It's like 30 years old." I said, "Yeah, I got it in 1970. And she goes, but, and then she looks further. She goes, "Oh my God!" And she looked like she about to faint. And I pulled out a chair, have a seat, and she basically said, "I was advertising this book, and I stopped at page 18. It's all the way done. There's 2 pages I wrote in the back that I didn't write. How did you get to?" I said, "Well, And then I told her the story about the Old Crone, and she was like, and I said, "You got red hair, don't you?" Duh. I mean, she had red. She looked just like the girl from Wendy's, and by at around 30 something, 28 to 32, somewhere in there. And so and she had pigtails and she had little freckles and she had the cutest face and the most unbelievably shapely body. And she was pretty tall too. She was taller than I was. And even when she was sitting down, but when she was standing above me, I was like looking up like this. She was like, and she played on the, she had played on the women's basketball team for Chapel Hill. So anyway, we became good buds, and and we would read this book to each other, and I would read her, and it, that night I did in bed. I read her this book, and it was a great tool. It would, first we kind of, we got to be buds in the coffee shop. Then we went over to my little apartment, which was right across the street from the fancy schmancy Nazi hotel that had been there for at least 100 years. And we saw my place, so she saw where it was and everything I had, and she thought that was cool. And then we walked over to that hotel, and we, kind of went across the golf course and went up, and we went into this nightclub, and we went through that and up the steps to where they had this beautiful patio that looked west, right? Just amazing view of the sunset, right? And they had, pub food, and they also had free bar food and, cocktails, especially at that, cocktail hour, between 4 and 6. And so we got a little sloshed, right? And I went over to the lady behind the desk who I knew. I said, "Is my room ready?" Right? And they had the David, the guy who did whatchamacallit, David Dan Lewis, and he did Last of the Mohegans, and they shot that movie in Asheville because they had all these buildings that could feign for that period of time. I mean, that's how much Asheville was stuck in amber. Anyway, and so they had all these rooms of all the famous people who ever stayed in. What was? It'll pop into my mind. The name of that hotel. They've named it. Some corporation has bought it and calls it something else, but it used to be forever long this Nazi. And there's a bunch of these hotels. There's one near, in Virginia, in the Peaks of Otter. And anyway, I said, "Is my room available?" And she said, "Of course, doctor." Right. And this room was this little teeny room that was in the back. They built it when they first built the first section of this whole Grove Park Inn. Go Google that. Grove Park Inn, right? See when that was made. And during World War II, the top Nazis that were captured in battle stayed in the Grove Park Inn, like grade A, clients, and were allowed to walk all over the place without a fence between them. Anyway, because they were high level Nazis and they were negotiating the New Deal, and that's why FDR ate his gun. He didn't die of a brain aneurysm. He blew his brains out between the deal he had to make with the aliens and what's his name? The guy, the devil worshipping guy, of England. I forget it. So above, so below. That guy. And he had a character that he communicated with. It was a gray alien, So, hello, Sandra. There's Jamie and there's Jane. So we went over there, and that was the first night we spent was in the Daniel Day-Lewis room, which was right built into this gigantic fireplace that was in the lobby, and had this little elevator that you push a button and it went up to one of 3 rooms, and they were like suites, right? They were suites in the day when they first built the thing, like in the 1860s when it was a hunting lodge, and it was nice. They looked out northwest, right? Great view. And if you went on this little porch, you could see downtown. That was kind of fun. And so you had that whole kind of panorama, and you didn't see the highways. You just saw the mountains and the stars, and it was really nice to sit out there. And it was a little jacuzzi out there. They stuck a little jacuzzi out there on that patio, and they had a really nice shower and never-ending hot water and big. You could fit a couple people in there, and a gigantic king-size bed that was stuck right in there, a fireplace and a TV, right? And a little kitchenette. It was not just a refrigerator, kitchenette was quite nice. and room service. Yeah, the guy would come up the elevator with a little trolley and bring you whatever you wanted, right? So, we went from that into that our first night. We didn't read Charles Dickens, but oh no, we did. I had it with me. So it was quite fun. So we were really tight buddies. With we both had the same. We were both Aquarians. So we both had the same kind of thing about sex. That it was fun to do, and you didn't have to like marry someone or anything other than like that person, treat them nice, and let them lead the situation. I want to do it. Okay. So so anyway, for a good 2.5 years, we were buds, right? I didn't have a girlfriend then, so it was like really nice, right? She was a lot younger than I was in my 50s then, so she was like between 28 and 32, somewhere in there. So she was at least 20 years or so younger than me. But we looked great as a couple, right? And so anyway, and that's when Asheville was loads of fun. There was nobody there. Things were cheap. I had this great apartment, across from the hotel, in a rich people neighborhood. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, kitchen, dining room, living room, 2-car garage, apartment, heat, electric, hot water, gas for the stove, all included, $125 a month. Can't beat that. 92 or 3, right? And so, so that's where I lived. Right now, it's the hipster jungle. It's like the guy who owned that place wanted to sell it to me for like 50 grand. I said, Dad, let's buy this. Oh, it's a terrible place. Oh. And pretty much that's been it. I've had cash, but I've never been able to have cash to do those that's not true. I did have cash, but basically it was probably because I didn't want to do it, right? I bought lots of real estate, so I guess that's not true. But right then and then, I didn't have the cash to do it. And I was living large, and I didn't need, I had $125 for an amazing apartment like that. Anyway, and so she loved that, and she had all these friends there. She loved that. I was involved in all these things. She loved that. I was still doing ethnography on things like the Biltmore House, the City County Plaza in Asheville, and out there in Cherokee. I was helping them put together their roll so they could become the Cherokee Nation they are today. And she loved all of that, and I had all these female friends who she just loved. She loved girls. And these girls love girls, and so I was the sandwich meat between the sandwich, right? So, and this is what life is about, and having this kind of not making money, not like like the hat. Yes, this is the magic hat, right? One of many. I buy this stuff at the thrift store. 25 cents. Can't beat it, right? Because I lose them all the friggin' time. Look at all these hearts. Isn't that nice? Yes. And then they show up again when I need them. And that's my life. I don't really have, I have all this stuff, right? Not really. And so it's what it is and what we should be doing. And if we were having a life where we're just enjoying it and serving love's co-creation, we would not have war. We would not have famine. We would not have disease. None of these things, because they all come from this thing called lack of ease. What is disease? A lacking of ease. That's disease. And we are diseased in every which way. We're diseased in our economics. We're diseased in our environmental stance. We're diseased in our politics. We're diseased in our global politics, our national politics, and our neighborhood politics. Everything is corrupt, from the president all the way down to the dog catcher. So, and how do we fight that? We fight it by being our best. And we're not fighting, we're just being a better opportunity. People will see a different way And this is what I call the alternative aesthetic. The alternative aesthetic is to serve love's co-creation, not one's ego. And so here we are in the Advent holiday season. Christmas is coming up. Today's the 9th, I think. So, what's that? It's less than 16 or so days away, Christmas. But see, people like Scrooge, humbug, no. The deal about Christmas is it's not one day a year. It is 365, right? 24/7. And that is what we need to do. That's having, conscious intent. When you have conscious intent in love's co-creation, 365, 24/7, that is celebrating that unconditional love of the Creator in our heart and that unconditional forgiveness of Jesus in our mind. So when shit comes our way, instead of going, oh, I hate this person. Oh, I just terrible. Oh. No, we go, okay, look, I know my 20 and I know my 360. So I see this shitstorm coming down. It's 3 blocks away. I'm just going to go over there. And you just go over there, right? And that shitstorm flies by. You see all these people who are like so focused on their ego get, and that's what we need to do, right? To live that example of love's co-creation, right? Then that's fun, So that redhead, who that I called Red, and we had 2.5 really fun years, right? And there were other people that kind of flowed in and out of our life, but we were, she was the one person that I really enjoyed my benefits with. The others, not so much. I'd be sweet and kind and cuddly and all of that, but I'm a one girl guy, right? So she was my girl, right? Not really. I mean, we had a wide open relationship, but we shared everything. She would bring girls home, and sometimes if it was like, scratching my itch, yeah, okay. But otherwise, no, you girls can have a good time, unless you really, really need me, because I'm always there for you. Limited PC filters, yes. Well, I don't think I'm going too outside the box here. I'm just describing. I can show you pictures. You want pictures? I mean, it's this neighbor. That guy's really crazy. He says all this stuff. And his wife said, I really think Al has done everything because he's shown us photo albums of all the stuff he talks about. Yeah, he's crazy. That's all he said. He's crazy. Well, he knows so much and he makes so much sense. He's just crazy. And every couple of weeks he gets a new car, and where'd you get that? Oh well, I kind of I traded this and that, blah 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 blah. And I said, so how your kids doing? I don't know. They're okay. How's your wife doing? I don't know. She's not working. She should be working. Anyway, and that's pretty much everyone who is not of the, school of the alternative aesthetic. And pretty much the holler folk are, but they were such easy pickings for the corporate, and to do a redlining, you don't have to be in the inner city to get redlined. These people were out in the middle of nowhere. They had a very nice life. And around 1970, they were someone in a corporate office building. Said, okay, look at this neck of the woods. It's really pretty. Nothing's going on. These people are just growing vegetables. Let's go in and take over. And that's what they did. Every element of the Nazi part of it, the military industrial part of it, the banking part of it, the mob part of it. The mob came in here 1980 and bought up everything they could in Asheville, in Mica Villa, Little Switzerland, Elks Mills, Johnson City. What's the other one? Banner Elk and all the things around Banner Elk, Boone, and there's about 4 other little towns around there that they bought up, and they turned it into little Las Vegas. And it's mobster money. They're just laundering it. They built all these little crappy boxes and sold them to people from Charlotte and Atlanta who could run up here if they wanted to. And they're living right next to somebody, right on a cliff. It's yeah. So I've been here 20 years, and I'm in the 3 corners of 3 counties and 2 states, and 2 other states are like, if I have big long legs, I could put my feet in all the states. So wherever you are, you can live as the artist in the first person. I can't draw with it. No, the artist in the first person is the person who sees what's going on and lives their life in love's co-creation, right? As an example to what the good things are going on, an alternative aesthetic to the crappy things that are going on. And people are just too lazy, too stupid, too all the rest to even go there. They don't realize how much fun it is to serve love's co-creation, to be there for the other, to realize that your life isn't about you. Your life is the we in me, right? And you don't quite see that. And so I can only say I'm here for anyone who wants to get a hold of me at the the Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. Dude Awake 42 at Gmail. And it'd be really nice if somebody, it's Advent time. Did you guys ever get a little Advent calendar and you open up each little door or window and there's a gift behind it? And that's, giving you the idea that maybe you should give that gift to your brother or your sister or your friend or your teacher or someone you care about, your mom, your dad. That's what the Advent, it was to share love's co-creation. That's what the Advent calendar and the season of Advent is about. And that's why I do these shows, right? This is my gift to you, to give you the alternative to this aesthetic of love's co-creation, instead of being stuck in fear's ego or ego's fear. They're both synonymous, interchangeable. So it's good to see you all there. The cadre is giving gifts and love to each other. That's the way to be. And you should, in your everyday, you're out there in the public, you're at the supermarket, you're driving your car, always be, one of the last things of the monkey mind I took to let go is my New York City driving habits, right? I always saw driving as like, Mad Max, right? Because I never had a driver's license, I just kept myself under the radar. I would buy a car at the used car guy. I knew this used car guy who worked for the guys who towed cars away. And I would come in, I'm on a $200 car. He'd give me a $200 car. That's a car that kind of runs pretty good. And, he was hooked up to the system. He pushed a button. I would get, spit out on the printer a legal title to that vehicle. I would get a legal cardboard, license plate. And I would get this number New York State had that was like not, it was like state car insurance. So you could drive that thing for a month on that, right? And if you went to a insurance guy, and got insurance for the car with that number, then you could have it without really, having a driver's license. It was, if you did it within the first 3 weeks of that cardboard license plate. So you'd have an insurance card, a title, and a license plate that I had this stuff that I could erase the number that got the printer put out, and then I would put the next month, right? And so as long as it's $200, if I drove it around for a month before they towed it away, um, be no problem. So so it was like double park. I would quadruple park. It's like, who needs a license? We don't need no stinking license. And so, for a number of years, I drove around that way until they kind of caught up to me, and I was out of state. That's it. I never got caught up with in New York City. No, the cops didn't care, especially in the '70s. They way didn't care. I was way, 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 way down on what they were interested in. Right? Had no money, wasn't black. Everything was semi-legal. If the car was insured, if I got in an accident, so pretty much I was kind of all taken care of. But so I would mostly not drive in New York, right? Who needs a car in New York? That was for like just for fun, right? And if they took it away, no problem, right? And so then, I didn't drive around for a number of years. I was in places I didn't have to, and so foreign countries, other things, right? Anyway, so I basically, and that's how I got a New Mexico. Well, no, New Mexico driver's license was like basically given to me for a job I had. But I got another, what was the North Carolina license. I came back from Sweden with a Swedish driver's license. And they said, sure, yeah, no. They didn't check anything. They just said, okay, yep, you got a North Carolina. And then from North Carolina to this city, to that state, to you name it. So anyway, that was my, thing behind driving. Didn't matter, And so really until 2 years ago, no, time flies, 5 years ago, when some guy, he took off, we were at a stop sign, he took off, and I was looking at the traffic coming this way. He took off, right? Well, I started to roll and went right into the back of he stopped for some reason. And I didn't hit the gas. I just kind of rolled into him. And he had a trailer hitch that kind of my whole car is made out of plastic. So from that day, and luckily I had car insurance and they fixed it up, but it was like ridiculous. So from that day, I always kept 4 lanes between me and another car. I never went past the speed limit. I mean, sometimes I would, but once that happened, I really said, okay, I got to come to grips with this, right? No matter how I'm feeling, I'm not going to take it out of my driving. Well, it took me 5 years to get it to a point where, but, so you're doing the speed limit and you are got 2 or 3 lanes in front of you and people are cutting in front of you, zipping all around. And it's like you're being taken advantage of, right? But that doesn't matter, When people do that, I just, take my foot off the gas and then give them another 3 lanes, right? So it's like, because I don't want to crash my car. I don't want to get in an accident. Don't want to put stress on my car, that's for sure. Blazing Saddles, yeah. We don't need no stinking badges, right? Exactly. And one of my favorite, I think that movie, Blazing Saddles, did more for racial harmony than anything else in the world. More than any rally, I think Blazing Saddles, was especially when all those white guys all dressed up like dandies who are supposed to be hard-ass gunfighters are, I get no kick out of champagne. Yeah. So, yes, that did. And that last scene where they had the big fight in the saloon and they break through the wall and they're into a Busby Berkeley where all these gay guys in top hats are dancing up and down the staircase. And then they break through the wall into a out there in the middle of a field where there are Nazi tanks and Englishmen and French guys and gay guys with, top hats and cowboys fighting the Nazis. Gay guys, yep. And I love gay guys. They're just so happy. I worked in the theater for 30 years. Pretty much everyone's gay. And a lot of guys would lean on me. Well, you're good looking. Oh, you're a great dancer. Oh, you can cook. And I said, yeah, and I like girls. But I like you as a person who's gay because you're so much fun, because you're gay. So I was an ME at a number of, guys who dress up in dresses, but they're still guys, and they sing and dance, and there's a name for it that slips my mind. Anyway, so I've I look, and the interesting thing is the power of the pink. Yep, exactly. The really interesting thing about all of those diverse communities that live in New York City. That's why I love New York City, because it's not a melting pot. It's a salad bowl of all these different things coming together, sitting on top of each other, and making an amazing salad, right? Well, that is America. I'm out here in the middle of nowhere, and and I was surrounded by 18 years by what Hillary Clinton called deplorables, and they weren't stupid. They just, they never saw a black person, so how can they, and so they just believe what other people had told them. Was a genius. Yeah, Mel Brooks, genius, right? Well, Lauren Bacall was a sweetheart, so what can I say? Um, so yeah, so that I still have that down. I can feel it's like my diabetes when I've eaten too many cookies, and I can feel it in my toes. And brain salad surgery. Yep. So and that's like what I live by. As long as it's got sherbet, cocaine, and no, not cocaine, but coconut, shredded coconut, and mushrooms mixed into that's brain salad. It's not brain salad without the marshmallows and Lauren Bacall. Who knew? Yep, I did. They used to come to my photo master. Um, I can't believe I forgot her name. Lisette Modell and Cartier-Bresson. They taught at the New School and at Visual Arts and NYU. And they had this amazing apartment on Fifth Avenue, right on the corner, right where Washington Square was. Beautiful apartment, right? Had a big balcony all the way around. And they would have their Friday night salon, photo salon. And there were, about 10 of us who were in their, school or their students. I don't know how they, or their cadre, however they named us. And we would all have to bring 10 prints, right? And so, we would get there at 4 and have little nashi stuff and drink coffee and talk about our photos and all the rest. And the crew would pick the top 10, right? And they had these spots that they could slide, and the print always had to be an 11 by 14. And so they would slip them into these frames and hang them up on the wall that they had lit up. They dimmed all the other lights except for the lights on the photos. And, that's what it was. And so there'd be people like, our genius Mel Brooks and Lauren Bacall, and I'd see them regularly. They were a New York couple, but they were sort of L.A. couple and a Paris couple. I mean, they had money and pull. Dumplings are yummy. Yes. Where's Tammy? There's Mr. Magic himself. Seven wants to know. Anyway, so it's getting dark, and I should go because I can't drive in the dark. It's getting a little dark. Okay, kids, I hope you enjoyed that stroll through everything. Yep, and that's my my noon de plume to others is double doctor, right? So I'll catch you guys later. Like I said, I can't drive in the dark, and it's getting a bit dark. Okay, love you. Catch you later. Depends on the weather about tomorrow. I don't have to say that twice. Remember,